People that go up and down motorways looking for car kills and not just badgers.
I think the law states you can't knock it down yourself, can you?
No,
if somebody else in front knocks it down, you
fair
can pick
game,
it up.
so to speak.
I remember there was a pub some years ago. I was down in Bristol, and there was a pub down near Bristol that was selling badger sandwiches. One time, I mean, a good many years ago. I'm talking about the 70s.
I'll be honest with you, I've got a bit of an aversion to some of those sort of meats. I went to a restaurant in Wolverton a couple of weeks ago where they had things like crocodile burgers on the menu.
Oh, they're nice, yeah, crocodile's good.
I've never had a crocodile burger. And do you know, I don't really fancy one.
It's got a bit of a bite.
Yeah.
The tail's a bit like a sort of chicken, really. It's quite nice. You go to Florida, it's quite popular, alligators. My mate used to have a pub at Pulpero called the Crumplehorn Mill, and they used to do exotic meat there in their restaurant. They used to do alligator
I'm sure
steaks.
there's lots of places that do kangaroo. In fact,
I've eaten kangaroo.
I can tell you of one in Montrose in Scotland.
Yeah, well, you can buy it in Lidl. You can buy kangaroo steaks in Lidl, and zebra, I believe.
A zebra.
Yeah.
You only get those crossing, though.
Have you had snake?
No.
I think I've had snake in Hong Kong.
I have seen it prepared, but I didn't try it.
I think I've had it in Hong Kong.
No.
Right, it's 21 minutes away from 10 o'clock here in Milton Keynes. There's no Dave and Charlotte this morning because, excuse me, again, they're on, I don't know what they're doing, but they're
on holiday again, on their boat.
They won't be with us, you know, so we will finish our programmes today at 10 o'clock with the Grumpy Old Men, but then this afternoon at 3 o'clock we've got Dino will be on, and that will be followed a little later on by, as he grabbing his little piece of paper, Erica Gordon. She's Roots, Soul and Rhythm and Blues. She's on 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock, and then it's Soul Licks is on from 11 until midnight here on CRMK. Her mother says that her 6-year-old son can't join after school clubs because she and her partner do not claim jobless benefits. Cara McCormack, who's 25, had tried to sign up Thomas for reading, maths and computer and homework groups, but she says he wasn't allowed to take part because she and his stepfather Steve do not receive the state handouts. Isn't this really rather ridiculous? I'm going to find out what the name of the school is.
It's crazy.
It's the Oliver Tompkins Primary School in Swindon.
Joseph of the week, isn't it?
Well, that's it, isn't it? So we'll have to get a little...
what about things being open to all?
Yes. I mean, you know, if you want the best for your children, they're offering these clubs. What is the difference? I mean, it should be for all, as you say. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Discrimination.
Therefore, the Oliver Tompkins Primary School in Swindon there, you've got a lot to answer for, mate. So the head teacher, Rhianne Cockwell, is a good name, said she had written to Thomas's mother to explain why he couldn't join certain clubs. She said some of the clubs he applied for were those who qualify for pupil premium, and this is a sum allocated by government to help disadvantaged children.
It's making those kids stand out, though, isn't it?
The teacher said these clubs were already full, but after we'd given priority to pupil premium students, otherwise Thomas would not necessarily have been refused to join them. But never mind, I'm Mike Barry.
I'm Bob Bluffield.
I'm Kev Slaymaker.
I'm Alan Mallyon.
And together we are
the Grumpy Old Men.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified, kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong, and I learned how to get along. So now you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock, I should have made you leave your key. If I'd have known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me. Go now, go, walk out the door, just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? Did you think
Gloria Gaynor, of course, and I Will Survive. And I don't know whether I'll survive or not, but I'll try to for the next sort of 20 to 2 minutes, that's all. And I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, don't forget, with a brand new show here on CRMK called
How on earth can we forget?
Well, you won't forget, because I'll keep telling you, and I'll tell you tomorrow morning as well.
I'll have a listen tomorrow. What time is it on?
8 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And I'll be playing the oldies from the 50s, the 60s, maybe some of the 70s and that, you know, but certainly concentrating on the 50s and the 60s. Some of the old nostalgic type music, and it won't just be, well, I'll be telling you a little bit about what's going on and how they made the hit or didn't make a hit or
really?
Like that, you know. Yes, yeah. But
where are you going to get that from then?
Never you mind.
I won't be here.
No, you won't be here. Never you mind. And
what time is that, Mike?
10 till 12.
No, it's not. It's 8 till 10, you just said.
No, it's not. It's
you
10
just said 8 till 10.
I did not.
You did.
I did not.
You went to the playback.
I did not say 8 till 10 because there's no way I'm getting up for 8 o'clock on
this is what I thought.
Sunday morning as well as a Saturday morning. It's bad enough Saturday morning, but Sunday morning, no. I'm going to have a lie-in on Sunday morning, but I will be with you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning here on CRMK for a musical 2 hours of just sitting back, relaxing and
oh, come on, Mike, stop all this
extravaganza.
Okay, all right, let's move on with the show then. More than 1 in 2 motorists. Now, this is interesting because there are 4 motorists in the studio here at the moment, but more than 1 in 2 say that they will own an electric car in 5 years' time. Men apparently are driving the change, with 60% saying that they would choose an electric model compared to 42% of women. That's a survey by website Total EV reveals. But with vehicles cost 27%, the lack of infrastructure and the driving change, the barriers are up of buying one. It shows 46% of women of Britons are what's that? Yes, 46% of Britons would switch to electric vehicles due to fuel prices, while 36% it goes on all these percentages, which I'm not interested in really. What I'm interested in, it says more than 1 in 2 motorists say that they will own an electric car in 5 years' time. Right, there's 4 motorists here in the studio, so that means that 2 of us are going to buy an electric car or have an electric car in 5 years' time.
I won't.
True or false?
False.
False.
True. I've got 2 friends that have now got electric cars. Jason and Robbie have both got electric cars, and
they must have a lot of money then.
They don't have an excessive amount of money, but what they save on fuel is quite significant, because there's so many free charging points at the moment, so they're getting a lot of their energy for nothing, which is great. And actually driving around in the cars, I've been in both vehicles, and they're excellent. And the one thing that you really do have is you have an acceleration that beats any petrol-driven car around at the moment.
The BMW one, the sports car-looking one, not the silly-looking one.
Well, it's the silly-looking one that I've been in actually, and I can't believe how fast it is. It's unbelievably quick. It does 100 miles on a single charge.
Well, that's a lot good, isn't it?
Well, it's also got it's got an onboard charging engine, so you're not limited to range. It's just that you end up having to use petrol if you exceed the range of the battery.
Are all the charging points free?
Not all of them, but the vast majority, yes.
Well, how much, if you have to pay, how much you have to pay?
The government is subsidising that. I mean, I think
that's the last thing.
It won't be free.
But my friend who charges his at home, because many people do charge it at home, he said it works out. It costs him £1 to do roughly 60 miles.
Well, that's something you clearly cannot argue about. There are other aspects here, because if we get 10 million electric cars here, we need quite a few other power stations to
work. Well, actually, I don't believe that to be the case. I mean, the problem is getting the timing right. If we can charge cars during the day and use solar energy to do it,
you have adapters.
You know, there are amazing savings to be made as a nation, and I believe that, you know, driving a petrol car in years to come will be an alien thing to do.
Right, okay, so that's just sort of really thrown that myth out the window, or that statistic out the window, because out of the 4 motorists in the studio here, there's only 1 who would go for an electric car, because I would possibly think about a hybrid, so, you know, part electric and part...
Well, I think that when you say electric car, I think that does include hybrids, because, we all know that there's a limitation on the range, and the range currently is about about 100 miles of charge. Now, it doesn't mean to say you get 100 miles, the battery goes down and you're stuck there for 2 hours. It means you use the onboard generator, which uses petrol. But even that, working on that basis, you can still drive because there's enough electricity being produced by the engine for you to drive, but you just are restricted on your maximum top speed.
So how do we stand here? Because I believe the other week there was a government comment that by a certain time, 2035 or 2040 or something, that all cars will be electric. There will be no petrol, there will be no diesel. We are then going to lose a lot of traditional stuff. These old cars, what's going to happen here?
Well, think about the strategy.
What's going to happen to BP?
Let's take a slightly helicopter view of this, right? As a nation, and you know, Western civilization is quite dependent on Middle East oil. One of the biggest consumers of Middle East oil is the motor car. If we have electric vehicles, we are not going to be dependent on Middle East oil, and that's going to put the Middle East into a whole different perspective. There won't be the need for us to actually defend the petrol-producing nations of the planet.
Well, wait a minute, we are dependent on Russian electricity.
Well, we're self-sufficient in certain aspects of electricity now at certain times of the day. I was surprised that we actually worked on purely regenerated, not regenerated, on wind and solar energy was enough to power the country at one point during this year, and it will happen again. I think that the proliferation of solar panels all over the country, I think it should be. I don't think you should be allowed to build a house anymore without solar panels on the roof. I think it should be compulsory. What do you think, gentlemen?
I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, because you're going to have changes of governments, changes of policies, and we're going to have nuclear cars, you know. I mean, this is what we're looking at.
No, we won't have nuclear cars.
It's going to happen where the renewables and that will come through. That is most definitely going to increase. It is in all college courses, for starters. It is there. It is a long-term view. It will happen. And besides that, we have not got finite resources of oil to make and refine and whatever. Okay?
Let's face it, go back 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, you know, when it was horse and cart, and then it was steam.